They say that trouble always comes in threes, and here we are in the final of our gastropub trilogy. So hello again viewers and welcome. So I'm back again in Chelsea with a visit to the Cadogan Arms, sister pub to that of the George in Fiztrovia, and of course the Hound over in Chiswick. It is another Sunday, so you know what that means. I will see you inside by the table. Okay, I've sat down in a rather dark corner and it's still quite noisy. So best of both worlds, not. Just looking at the menu, I'm a tad disappointed, but for selfish and creative reasons, as there isn't anything different to what I've tried in the sister pubs. The only alternatives are a vegetarian pie and shoulder of lamb, which is for 2 people. So I don't really want to be ordering more food than I need just for the sake of content. So I'm going to go for the roast beef and then see how it differs to that of the George and see if there's any sense of identity and difference between the two sister pubs. And in keeping with the other pubs under the Ardent Pub group, they supply a choice of filtered still water or sparkling, but I've gone for the still in today's visit. There is no salt and pepper, but you can ask. It is available on request should you feel the need to season your food a little bit further. It is still a rather hot and muggy day at the beginning of August, so gone for a suitable beverage to fit the settings. This is the house white of the Cadogan Arms. It is, I believe, Luberon, France. Consists of Vermentino and Claret grape. So, on behalf of the Cadogan Arms, cheers, cheers. Tutti frutti. Course number 1 has arrived. This is Brixton crab with brown crab mayonnaise and slices of celeriac, accompanying a little wedge of lemon. So let's go ahead and dress this before we begin. There we go. A little bit of zest and sunshine into the mix there. I'm going to need 2 hands to eat this starter course. One piece of toast, knife and fork, or just eat it as one piece. Okay, a good decent mouthful here. Instantly I can sense the citrus, lemon and the creamy richness of the mayonnaise and the chives to again add a little bit of balance. Absolutely delightful and already addictive. Another piece. Apologies for the background noise. It is a family-friendly pub after all. So, what can I say about the crab and toast? It is food designed purely to be eaten. Very approachable, relatable, familiar, and not optimised for TikTok or Instagram. That's all there is to it. I have mentioned the mayonnaise, exceptionally creamy, and complements the crab meat exceptionally well. Okay, let's try the slices of fennel here. I reckon they, not say double down, I say treble down with the sharpness. So you've got your aniseed of the fennel, then you've got your chives and then the lemon. So I'd say just have a little bit of the lemon and a little bit of the fennel. Otherwise it'll come across a bit too sharp. Another piece of the toast. I just noticed some capers in the mix also. Again, that theme of sharpness continues. So you have your capers, you've got your fennel, your chives and your lemon. It takes 4 ingredients to balance out the creamy richness of the brown mayo or brown crab mayo. Good stuff. And in case that wasn't enough, I do have my palate cleanser, white wine. So what else is there to say about this pub? I mentioned earlier in previous videos that the owners have tried to set the gold standards amongst London public houses, and I've also mentioned of the elevated drinking and dining experience alongside her sister pubs. So what is new and unique about the Cadogan Arms? Looking at the rather splendid decor, it tells me it is the most upmarket of the three, and its location along the King's Road here in Chelsea also suggests this. And then there is the name, the Cadogan Arms, named in tribute to the Cadogan family, who happens to be the landlords of the Chelsea and Knightsbridge area and have been so since the 18th century. It is about as old money as it can get. And here is the star of the show. So it's roast rumper beef, specified in medium. It's interesting because they actually asked me, well, how I'd like my beef. You can have it rare, medium, or well done. So I've gone for the middle of the road, but they're still sufficiently pink to give me confidence that this is good beef. Unfortunately, piling food up on top of each other, stacking food, looks good on camera, and they're not particularly practical when you're eating, as you're going to have to start rearranging items so you can cut through them. I will do my best. Here we go. Let's go down to the edge of the plate, maybe I've got a better chance that way. Reasonably tender, as you can see the tissues of the beef is separating pretty nicely. Again, I'm not exerting too much force as I don't want to accidentally knock things over. Here we go. That is good beef. Quality, as you expect, consistent with that found in the George. The seasoning is slightly on the saltier side, however, plenty of impact. It's notice you get 4 slices here, so here's a piece that's on the top. 1, 2, and there was another on the bottom here. Pretty generous portion in terms of meat. Okay, so I've not pointed out that it also comes accompanied with horseradish here, and as with the George, you got your bone marrow gravy, which looks absolutely splendid. So let me pour some of this onto the beef. Glorious. Okay, let's try a little bit more of the rump beef with the bone marrow gravy. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on par with that of the George, or the produce is going to be from the same supplier for consistency's sake. The gravy is rich, meaty, plenty of going on in there. You won't be disappointed. So before I continue, I've actually got another glass of wine, but this time red to match with the beef, of course. This is from the same region, from Luberon, but using Grenache grapes, so I expect it to be quite intense, fruity, all those summery flavours and vibe in a glass. So let's give us a taste. Cheers. Fantastic. It's like a boozy Ribena. I'm kidding. Very rounded, full-bodied, fruity, as you expect, and it'll be a lovely accompaniment to the beef. So I should comment on the accompaniment. So we have florets of broccoli rather than your tender stem broccoli that we found in the other sister pubs. Roast potatoes, traditional crispy potatoes, good stuff, and long shards of carrots hidden underneath the beef. I will review it in a short while. And last but not least, some cabbage with some dressing in there. But while I've got this on my fork, let's give this a taste. I can't quite put a finger on what it is. It's not horseradish, there's no heat in that. It's just a sort of light cream. Well, I know it's just some kind of light cream dressing in there. I should comment on the Yorkshire pudding. It's actually sensibly sized this time. It's a common trend amongst pubs these days to just go big, perhaps to look good on Instagram. Something. It's roast beef. But let's see what else we can ascertain from this. As you can see, I'm just cutting through the beef again. Another succulent piece of the rump. It's still got some of the gravy that I administered on it earlier. Absolutely no salt and pepper required. Okay, let's try the roast potatoes. In keeping with the quality and level of the sister pubs, right, let's try the carrots. Essentially a whole piece of carrot but cut into two. It is more on the well done side, but that's not a bad thing. I am not an expert on carrots, as you can tell, but it tastes good. Sweet. And comes from a good piece of the earth. And a little bit more of close-up action of the... So here's another piece of the carrot, as I mentioned. It's all just cut lengthways of the vegetable. Sweet, succulent, easy to eat. Let's try the floret of broccoli. There you go. Not reinventing the wheel in terms of choice of vegetables, all classic familiar comforts. And as you can see, I'm making room to bring in the Yorkshire pudding into play. So here we are. So let's try the pudding on its own first before we administer some more gravy. It's not the biggest plate in the world. I'd say just one notch up above the plates you get from a buffet service, if you know what I mean. It is consistent in terms of quality to that in the Hound in Chiswick. So this one and in the Hound, much more palatable. The one in the George was that massive boulder, very dense, not quite so palatable. Let's get some gravy on here. There should be some bits of marrow in there, so this is going to be rather decadent. The Yorkshire pudding coated in this gravy with bone marrow, it is something else. A quick switcheroony on the camera angle in case there's any concerns about privacy. I'm rather impressed with the gravy. I think it's really making the difference with this roast dinner compared to anywhere else. It's the bone marrows just adds an extra level of savouriness that you just reaches other parts of the brain that other gravies can't. Another piece before I proceed. Another carrot. As I mentioned with the roast beef found in the George, it has been cooked slowly to ensure the fibres collagen breaks down, but whilst retaining the colour of the beef, so you get the best of both worlds. They kept the rinds of fat on top, so you get the extra flavour in there. Another piece, so it's separated just effortlessly. Some more roast potato. I just had a bit more of the cabbage. I reckon it's béarnaise or something along to that effect. And some more grenache. Red wine that grabs you by the throat. In flavour, that is. So, I think I kind of covered everything as much as I could with this roast. Don't want to turn this into a procession. I'm going to finish this dish off camera, and I'll see you all outside for the wrap up, so I won't speak too long. Cheers. So that was the Cadogan Arms food, fit for a king at a princely sum though, something like that. And that rounds off the trilogy of the Gastro Pub series, in particular belonging under the Ardent Pub group. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video, so thanks again for watching all. Until that time, you all take care now.